All right, so I'm gonna talk about relationships and SATs and stuff like that. But because our next lesson's related rate, so you have to know certain things. So I'm gonna start by what do you need to know for SAT? Okay, the things that you cannot get it wrong, you have to get it correct, are system equations. Have to be elimination, substitutions. Okay, substitutions and elimination. Okay, that's but mostly elimination. If you want to learn one thing to go, elimination for sure. Okay, you have to be able to solve literal equation. Okay, you have to be able to solve literal equation. What is literal equation? Like a pig problem. Sometimes could be like, perimeter equal to 2L plus 2W solve for W. It could be something like that. Just very simple. Make sure you understand literal equation. For me, all a linear equation is roughly 6 to 7 questions. Sometimes you have 6 questions, sometimes you have 7 questions. Linear equation, y equal to mx plus b, right? Y minus y1 equal to m times x minus x1. And understand the meaning of literal equation, the linear equation. Now, what does y-intercept mean? So for example, I give pre-calc a questions. I say airplane's descending at after 4 minutes is, I think 25,000 feet. And after 12 minutes is 5,000 feet. And I told him, says, how do I find how long it takes to land the plane? Okay, so that is a specific question I give out for pre-calc. Pre-calc student, they have one question like this. So basically, they have questions: the airplane descending at the airport after descending 4 minutes, the airplane height is 25,000. After descending 12 minutes, that is 5,000. So I say, can you build me a linear equation in terms of H and M? B, I can ask you what time does the plane land on the ground, which is looking for x-intercept. I can say find the height before the airplane descending. That's the y-intercept. But the things like that, you had to know. You had to know the meaning of slopes. Okay? So literal equation. Radical equation, it's really happened a lot recently, but those one just plug in a choice. So radical equation that you're gonna have like, I don't know. I don't know what the question is, but you got like square root x minus 1 equal to x plus 2, something like that. I don't know if this one's actually solvable, but just plug in the value that they give it to you, because that will eliminate all the extraneous solutions. So I don't know if this one's solvable, but what are you supposed to solve? You're supposed to solve x minus 1. This is supposed to be x squared plus 4x plus 4, and that's going to be x squared plus 3x, and I don't know, this one is might not work out, but so I don't know, let's say it's if this is a I don't know what's the number, but anyway, you got an idea. Just like you want to solve equation, and you kind of plug in, and but the thing is about SAT, they will give you the answer choice for you to plug in. So you're just gonna plug in to check extraneous rather than try to solve it, because if you solve it, you're gonna take a longer time. You still have to check extraneous. Plug in the value when it's radicals. So I would say plug in the value they're giving, and make sure it's true statement. Okay. System equation, literal equation, linear equation, radical equation. You're also gonna get like I think Amanda asked me, says, they have question about standard deviation. You have to understand the meaning of standard deviation. The meaning of standard deviation, write it down if you don't know. It's how far away theta is away from the mean. Okay. How far data is away from the mean. So if you have data that has extreme values, it's like one, I have test score 10, I have 100, I have most of people is 60s, but that standard deviation is very wide because I have a score of 10. 10 is very far away from mean. I have a score 100 is very far away from mean. So that has a huge standard deviation. But if everybody score at 70, then that's a very low standard deviation because everybody is very close to the mean. Does that make sense? So that's standard deviation. You're gonna get radical equation. So those are the things that you're supposed to get all the time. You cannot miss those questions. You rather let go some hard questions. I'm telling you, I'd rather you let go 2 questions that's really difficult, like you're gonna spend 5 minutes on it. I'd rather you go back to make sure all the questions you did is right. And those questions just go with gut. Whatever gut told you the answer is, go with it. Unless you have extra time to finish it, you finish those hard questions because some questions are very difficult. Even for me, sometimes I'm tutoring somebody, so sometimes I'll be like, I have no clue. You know what? I can let go 1 question, I can steal 800 on math. I would like to talk about, since we're going to talk about related rate, we're going to talk about relationship with geometry. Not many geometry questions, but geometry question that for sure going to show a similar triangle. Okay, so triangles that you have to understand. Okay, and this is just the things that, complex number. Do you know how to deal with complex numbers? Let's say 2i minus 1 over 3i plus 2. Do you know how to conjugate this? And to get to a plus bi form. Do you guys know how to do that? No? Yes? Maybe? Yes? Okay, if you don't know, you're supposed to be multiplied by the conjugate. So that's going to be 3i minus 2 times 3i minus 2. And the bottom term is going to cancel out. There's no more I. On top term, you're going to have an a plus bi form. You're going to have some exponential questions, for sure. Right? You are going to have some exponential questions. Guys, it doesn't matter which kind of equation. Always find x-intercept, y-intercept. If you find x-intercept, y-intercept on anything, lines, parabola, or anything, they will give you some type of clue. If you don't know how to start a question, find x-intercept if you have something. Find y-intercept. That should give you enough clue. Always find x-intercept and y-intercept. Got it? Okay. So those are questions that I will say that you have to get it correct. Next thing you have to get it correct, circles. Always there. Do you know how to complete a square? Anybody don't know how to complete a square here? Okay, good. Fine. I like Kevin. The reason why he has balls, most of you guys don't know how to do it, you don't raise your hands. I have no respect of you. I respect Kevin. Why? Because if he doesn't know, he raises his hand. If you don't know, raise your damn hand. Nobody give a shit. Ask me. I'll help you. You gotta be able to do something like this. You have to be able to find center, radius, circumference, area, perimeter. Area. You have to be able to find all the things. Not just only anything. You gotta be able to find, sometimes I think 2 years ago, they even asked, like, what is the square that circumscribes the circle? What is the area of that square? A little bit harder, but you have to know how to complete the square. Please, those are easy questions. Those are handed to you. It's cash in, cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. Every time you see those questions, you have to get it right 100% of the time. Okay. Do you guys know how to do this? No? What? This is, oh yeah, should be 10y, my fault. Thank you. Yes.
Find the perfect square.
Yes, what is perfect square here?
X minus 2 squared and y plus 5 squared.
Okay, but you have to do something before.
Plus minus 4 and plus minus 10.
Why is plus minus?
Like,
that doesn't make sense.
I can show you how to do it.
Take the middle term divided by 2. Square. So negative 2 squared, that's equal to 4. That's from here. Take the middle term divided by 2 squared. So that's going to be 5 squared. That's equal to 25. So that means I'm going to add 4. I'm going to add 25 here. I'm going to add 4. I'm going to add 25. So that's equal to 36. I don't get rid of this is because I know that it's just a factor. So that is going to be y plus 5 squared. And guess what? The center is what? The opposite from the signs, 2, negative 5. The radius is going to be 6. Got it? What is the area? Well, area is equal to pi r squared. You have to know the formula. Pi r squared is what? 36 pi. Circumference is d pi. D is 12, so it'll be 12 pi. You have to know all this stuff. Got it?
What's the area? Pi r squared?
Pi r squared. We're going to talk about that. That's actually pretty important. There's no perimeter is circumference. Perimeter for squares and like hexagons, but not for circles. Circle is the cos circumference. It's the same idea, but got it?
Yeah.
Okay. Geometry. I'm going to talk about geometry because related rate needed. The things that you need to know for geometry is for related rate, which is we're going to talk about the word problem for the next whole week. You're going to hate it. It's the worst part of the calculus. Okay? So start with a square. What is the area of a square? No, they are the same length. That's S square. Okay. What is the perimeter of a square?
4s.
4S. Thank you. That's square. Simple. Rectangle, right? Simple shapes is the area is what? Length times width. Very important. And the perimeter is what? 2L plus 2W. Circles. Area equal to pi r squared, right? Guess what? If you take a derivative of this, respect to r, you're gonna get circumference. Take a derivative of r squared, what you get? 2 pi r. If you take a derivative of that, very, very useful. Got it? Let's talk about that's a two-dimensional shape. Let's talk about three-dimensional shape. Three-dimensional is what? Well, three-dimensional is gonna be a cube, right? So cube. What is volume of a cube?
Like times with times height.
No. Be more specific.
Cube.
Side cube, thank you. What is the surface area? So surface area of a cube.
Squared times 6.
Okay, if you have problem memorizing that, a dice is 6 sides. And each side has s squared, so it'd be 6s squared. Got it? That's cube. Rectangular prism. Prism is what? Volume is equal to what?
All length times width times height.
What?
Length times width times height.
Length times width times height. Now, what's the surface area?
Isn't it just 2L plus 2W cubed?
No.
Oh, okay. 6 times the page.
Draw it out if you have problem with it. They are 2LW plus 2WH plus 2 what? HL, right? Very important for optimization. You're going to use it later. Circular. Circular has a cylinder. What is cylinder? What's the value of cylinder? You need to know for SIT.
4/3.
What?
4/3.
No, you dumbass. It's a. What did I draw? I was a cylinder. Huh? Pi r squared times h. Thank you. It's the circle. Just think about you stack the quarter. You got an area of a circle. You stack how high the quarter is. That's it. Now the next one's kind of challenging. What's the surface area? Teresa, are you waiting for me?
Connected to the circle like 2 pi r plus something.
2 pi r now.
Like spread it out.
Draw it out. Two circles. Pi r squared. That's the top and bottom, right? So it'd be 2 pi r squared. Does that make sense? If you take a piece of paper, you roll it. That's a cylinder. Guess what? That's a surface area. That's called lateral face. The lateral face is this one, right? Well, what is that? That's a height, right? 2 pi r. It's a circumference times radius. So 2 pi r h. Does that make sense? 2 pi r is the circumference, which is when you roll out paper, that's how wide it is. Got it? A cone. What is a cone? What's the volume of cone?
Pi squared 1/3 times sine over 1/8.
Why is 1/3? Do you guys know it's 1/3? I'll show you what's 1/3. Visually makes sense. Look, if you have the same cone that within the cylinder, right? Did you see 1/3 here? So it's 1/3 pi r squared h. It's 1/3 of a cylinder. A cone is a 1/3 of a cylinder. That's easier to memorize. Got it? You don't need to know surface area because no one cares. But you do need to know sphere though. This is sphere. What is the volume of sphere? Luke? No, now you gotta say it. What is the volume of sphere? 4/3? No, you dumbass. It's 3-dimensional. It's pi r cubed. How many times have they called Luke a dumbass in live stream?
That's crazy. I've only been hit by one. Motivation.
4/3 pi r cubed. It's 3-dimensional. It's not 2-dimensional. It's not flat. It has to be r times r times r. 4/3. You're gonna say that's very hard to remember, but you know what? Look, surface area. You don't have to memorize this one. Remember, what's the relationship between area or this one of circle? This is P. I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. This is C. This is C, right? C is equal to 2 pi r. So write down this C. I'm so sorry. Yeah, circumference equal to 2 pi r. It's a derivative of an area. Guess what? If you take a derivative of a volume, what'd you get? What?
1 pi r squared.
4 pi r squared. Thank you. It's the derivative. Why? Because you take a 3r squared and 3 and 3 cancel out. 4 pi r squared. Easy memorization. Got it? No, only work with circular, or the circle and sphere. And there was actually a very cool math foundation of that, but no one cares. All right. What do you need to know on triangles on SAT? You have to know Pascal triangle, Pythagorean triplets. So, not Pascal triangle, sorry. Pythagorean triplets. Triplets. What is Pythagorean triples? 3, 4, 5 is a common Pythagorean triplet. So this is 3, this is 4, this must be 5. But the 5 has to be the longest length. And if that, this is 90 degree. If the 90 degree, it has to be 3, 4, 5. It could be multiple 3, 4, 5. You can double the size. You can say 6, 8, 10. That still counts 3, 4, 5 triangle. So you don't need to spend time on calculating on SAT. If you see the hypotenuse 10 and you see one leg is 6, the other side has to be 8. Got it? It's called Pythagorean triplet. 3, 4, 5 is a common one. There's a 5, 12, 13. It looks like that, 5, 12, 13. The biggest angle facing the biggest side, right? Smallest angle facing the smallest side, but 5, 12, 13 is a common one. There's another one on the calculus is 7, 24, 25. Usually nobody know this one. Who cares? Doesn't worry about it. 3, 4, 5, 5, 12, 13. That's good enough for your SAT, ACT. Most of the time, they give you a right triangle. Has to be like this.
Can you explain that 8, 6, 10 one?
It just double.
Oh.
It can be triple too. You can double or triple of any integers, right? If just create multiply by 10, it can be 30, 40, 50. You don't need a calculation. Okay. Pythagorean triplet. Next thing, similar triangle. Now, why we have similar triangle? Why did I talk about similar triangle? Because on SAT, now reiterate. Similar triangle is like this. There's only two setup is like this. This is X, Y, and I don't know. A and B, how about that? So X over Y is equal to A over B plus Y. Does that make sense? Because small triangle, well, first of all, how do I know this is similar? Because similar setup is only in this way. No, there's two ways. This is the first one. Why? Because that angle is going to be the same on the corner. And 90 degree is always the same on different things. So this is 90 degrees. So they both triangle are similar. So this length, this height, this X over Y is ratio of the bigger triangle. This big triangle versus this small triangle. Does that make sense? So it'll be X over Y, A over B plus Y. Had to be B plus Y. Sometimes people thought it's A over B. No, it's the whole length of the triangle that's similar. Got it? You're going to set up ratio, cross multiply, solve your answers. Am I going too fast? The next similar triangle setup on SAT, two type. There's this way, and there's the other way. This way is another very popular one. Two parallel line. I don't care about how long the line is. I know that this line here is like this. Guess what? These two triangles are similar. Why? There are two reasons. If there are two parallel lines on your SAT, you have to know something called alternative interior angle. Alternative interior angle, that means this angle and this angle has to be congruent. Does that make sense? Because you have two parallel lines. That's called alternative interior angle. Those two angles has to be the same. So I review two things. The next thing is this angle has to be the same because that's also alternative interior angle. If two angles are the same, the third angle had to be the same. But this side is actually a vertical angle, so this angle is like this. The problem of this is they are kind of inverted. So you create your ratio, you have to be very specific. So that's a B, C, D. How do I create my ratio? Well, you can do it a couple different ways. If it's A over C, right, must equal to what?
C over D. No, C over D.
If which one is it?
C over D.
Are you sure?
Yes.
100%?
Yes.
Yeah, $10?
$10 is a lot, man.
B over D.
Alright, $10.
You won.
Okay.
A over C is B over D. A over C is B over D. Why? Because this angle are congruent to this angle. That's how you match them. And you're gonna create ratio that way. Got it? How much time I have? Oh, good. We're gonna talk about another thing that's always on SAT is on the you have to know how to convert radian to degree, degrees to radians. Those are easy one, but always on SAT is the co-function identity. So sine of theta is equal to cosine of 90 minus theta. And cosine of theta equal to sine of 90 minus theta. This occur in unit circle. Why? Sine of 30 degree is what? Same answer as cosine of 60, right? Does that make sense? You already know this. You just need to know how to apply it on SAT. It's called co-function identity. Cosine of 89 degree is same as sine of 1 degree. Same logic. Now, you might have something called SOHCAHTOA, which is this on SAT. On AP exam, it's going to worry about the angle. Anytime you have d theta dt, they are looking how fast the angle is changing. Write it down. The angle is changing here. If you ever have d theta dt, that means SOHCAHTOA. That means sine of theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. And the cosine of theta is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. And the tangent of theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. Now, what you need to know is you need to make sure, and you're going to write this down, make sure constant on the bottom. And we're going to talk about that later of the trig ratio. So this is a very, very big deal. Write this down. We're not going to explain why, but we're going to explain later. One more thing is on SAT that's always show is 30, 60, 90. You have to know the ratio. Do you guys know the ratio? 30, 60, 90. This is facing x. This is facing 2x. This is facing x squared root 3. You have to know this ratio. It help you. Another one. That is some good music. This is the x, this is the x, this is the x squared root 2. You have to know those ratio. It has to be 45, 45, 90. So it's called 45, 30, 60, 90. And 45, 45, 90. Okay. You have to know all this. Now, one last thing. On SAT, I see this question all the time. I see like they compare two cylinder, right? And they say, hey, there's a cylinder A and there's cylinder B, right? One's fatter than the other one. How much fatter? Well, one thing is 1/3 less. The radius is 1/3 of. So this is cylinder A. This is cylinder B. Cylinder A, the radius is 1/3 of cylinder B. So that makes cylinder B is how many times bigger? Huh? No. So you got A. The radius is 1/3 compared to the B. So how much volume difference? Same height, same exact height.
Oh, it's 2 over 3.
Huh?
It's 2 over 3 times bigger.
No.
With these factors.
Why is 9 times bigger?
You have to.
Because the volume equal to 1/3 pi r square h, right? H is the same, but it's 1/3 here. So this is a normal. This is normal. But it's a 1/3, it's gonna be 1/3 pi, and this is a 1/3 r, right? Square h. So 1/3 times 1/3 is gonna be 1/9. So that's exactly gonna be 9 times bigger. Compare from one to the other one, because you plug in r as 1/3. If you plug in h as 1/3, it's gonna be 3 times bigger. This one is also one of the tricky questions on SAT is study the proportionals. How you get proportional, how is this is proportional to the other one?
Length and then areas when you square and volume. Is that how it works?
No, I just explained to you, dude. Did you pay attention?
I don't know. I saw other examples.
If it's a sphere, like radius is 1/2, right? 1/2 of the other radius. Then it's gonna be exactly 8 times bigger on the bigger one. Why? Because 1/2 r, because r to the cube. So 1/2 r, so it'll be r cubed over 8. So it's gonna be exactly 8 times bigger. It's because the other times 1/8 smaller.
Yeah, it's always sounds like cubes on what stuff. I don't know.
Yeah,
Is this gonna be streamed, by the way? The SAT.
yeah. It is not streamed right now.
It's